From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline, Malacanang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacanang in Review. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday called on the officials and employees of the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, to be consistent in fulfilling their mandate and remain vigilant against modern challenges such as climate change. This as the President heaped praises on the DSWD during its 74th anniversary celebration at the SMX Convention Center in Pasay City for its steadfast commitment to serving the Filipino people, especially those belonging to the vulnerable and marginalized sectors. President Marcos lauded the DSWD for launching new initiatives such as the Harmonized Electronic License and Permit System, or HELPS, Minors Traveling Abroad, or MTA system, and the Pamilya sa Bagong Pilipinas program, saying these reflect a government that listens, responds, and evolves to meet the needs of the people. HELPS serves as the platform that streamlines the application processes for licenses and permits, making it faster for stakeholders to access DSWD services. As part of HELPS, the MTA system modernizes travel clearance processing for Filipino minors. Let us listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the celebration.
When we were scheduling this anniversary celebration of the Department of Social Welfare and Development, I had to pause for a moment because after all, 74 years is a significant amount of time. Kung tao yan, may senior citizens card na yan. Nag-e-enjoy na ng discount sa grocery at saka sa mga priority lane. But when it comes to serving the public, the DSWD remains as sprightly, as committed, and even a better organization than it was when you began. Since your establishment, this institution has been a steady, reassuring presence for many, many, many Filipinos through countless generations. You have provided not just assistance, but behind that assistance, you have also provided hope to families rising from hardship, to communities devastated by calamities, to individuals who need to feel that their government is there by their side, ready to assist. Your vision is simple and profound: to build a resilient, inclusive society where no one is left behind. Time and again, we have seen how that vision translates into action, whether in the swift distribution of aid after a typhoon, the consistent support for struggling families, or the enduring commitment to sectors often overlooked by society. The mission does not end here. It has really just begun. Lasting change is not built overnight. It takes consistent and honest and dedicated effort. Every single centavo spent, every program that is implemented, every decision that has been made must serve a very clear purpose: to create opportunities that endure, that uplift and reach far beyond just today. One of the strongest examples of this commitment is the 4Ps. This program reflects a fundamental belief: education and health are investments in the future. Through conditional cash grants, we help families stay on track with their children's education and their health care, laying a sturdier foundation for a better life. Sa tulong ng 4Ps, mas napapangalagaan ang kalusugan ng mga bata at ang kanilang pati na ang kanilang mga magulang. Mas dumadami ang pumapasok sa paaralan at mas nabibigyan pansin ang pangangailangan ng mga kabataan na itinuturing natin pag-asa ng bayan. Just last year, more than 4 million households received support through the 4Ps. Behind these numbers lies a deeper, more profound success. Since its inception, nearly 678,000 families have achieved self-sufficiency. Ibig pong sabihin, kaya na nila na itaguyod ang kanilang sarili dahil may kumpiyansa at pag-asa sila para sa mas maliwanag na kinabukasan. More than 1 million high school students have graduated. Nearly 470,000 elementary school children have completed their primary education. And amongst those graduates, 40,000 individuals have passed their licensure examinations, and 65 of them stood out, earning spots amongst the top examinees in their respective fields. Yet we know that progress requires more than just assistance. It demands that opportunities be built so that they may earn and they may grow. While the implementation of the Sustainable Livelihood Program, or SLP, we empower our fellow Filipinos with the skills, with the resources, most importantly, the knowledge to improve their livelihoods, whether through micro-enterprises or stable employment. Under SLP, we conduct free technical, vocational, and life skills training for our vulnerable and marginalized sectors. Hindi po ito nangangahulugan Sustainable Love Life Program, Baka kasi may magtanong siya, Sir, meron bang training para sa mga pusong laging nalulugi? Yan yung mga personalities without jowa. Nangunguna na dyan yung inyong kalihim. So masyadong masipag itong ating sekretary. Wala nang panahon para magromansa. Lahat naman sa inyo Kapag tinatawa niya, lahat kayo, the secretary, the USEC, kahit alas 3 ng umaga ay tumatawag ako, sumasagot. Hindi na yata kayo natutulog. Matulog naman kayo paminsan-minsan para medyo huwag kayo makakasakit kasi kailangan namin ng sigla ninyo. Alam niyo po, kung ang SLP, ay para sa love life, siguradong dagsa ang aplikante. Lalo na yung mga nasa situationship. Yung invested ka na pero wala pa ring label. Pero negosyo po ang tinututukan natin. Hindi po puso, hindi po natin kaya yon. Sa pamamagitan nito, natututo ang ating mga kababayan kung paano magtaguyod ng negosyo, palaguin ang kita, at patatagin ang kanilang kinabukasan. In 2024, nearly 271,000 households benefited from SLP. While we focus on the future, we also honor those who built the foundations of our present. Our senior citizens who have dedicated decades of their lives to hard work to help our nation, they deserve comfort, dignity, and peace of mind in their twilight years. And through the social pension for indigent senior citizens, we deliver financial aid to help cover their daily necessities and medical expenses. Hindi na mangangamba ang ating mga senior kung saan kukuha ng pambili ng gamot o panggastos na pang-araw-araw. In 2024, nearly 4.3 million senior citizens received social pensions. For these elders, the monthly stipend is a reassurance that their contributions to the nations are cherished and are appreciated and redound to their benefit. Even as we strengthen these core programs, we remain vigilant against modern challenges such as climate change. Natural disasters are growing more frequent, more severe, leaving communities at greater risk. So to address this, we utilize the Quick Response Fund, or QRF, a dedicated resource for swift, effective disaster response. Nakalaan ang QRF para sa agarang pagbili ng pagkain, kagamitan, at iba pang pangunahing pangangailangan ng mga nasalanta sa kalamidad. Last year, nearly 7.4 million disaster-affected Filipino families received essential assistance through the QRF. Over 540,000 families were also provided early recovery services. ensuring support beyond just immediate relief. These numbers embody our commitment to stand with our people, swiftly, compassionately, and resolutely through every stage of their recovery. As we commemorate the past, we must also prepare for the future. That future demands modernization, efficiency, accessibility. That's why today we launched our new initiatives. First, the HELPS, or the platform that streamlines the application processes for licenses and permits, makes it faster for stakeholders to access DSWD services. Pangalawa, second, the minors traveling abroad system. As part of HELPS, this system modernizes travel clearance processing for Filipino minors. Pinadadali at inaayos nito ang proseso para sa mga magulang at tagapag-alaga habang tinitiyak ang kaligtasan at kapakanan ng mga batang Pilipinong bumabiyahe sa iba't ibang bansa. And lastly, the Pamilya sa Bagong Pilipinas program. This initiative aims to strengthen family development and welfare in every stage of life, recognizing that nurturing households are the cornerstone of a thriving nation. Sa programang ito, susuriin natin ang kalagayan ng bawat pamilya upang matukoy ang kanilang tunay na pangangailangan. Kasabay nito, ipapatupad natin ang mga angkop na kalinga upang matiyak ang tulong ng gobyerno na wasto, sapat at tumutugon sa kanilang mga sitwasyon. These endeavors reflect a government that listens and that responds, a government that evolves to meet the needs of its people. At this juncture, let me recognize the steadfast efforts of the DSWD. Your courage, particularly during the recent spate of calamities, has been nothing short of extraordinary. Ika nga, you are the first to respond, but the last to sleep. While others sought shelter from the storm, you walked into the chaos to deliver relief. You have saved lives, brought hope, and demonstrated the true power of compassion. For that, the country is grateful. For that, your president is grateful. To my fellow Filipinos, the success of these programs does not rest on the shoulders of the DSWD alone. It requires our collective determination, support, and our effort. Let us build the Bagong Pilipinas, a nation where every citizen has a chance to dream, to strive, to succeed. A country where compassion is not merely a value but a way of life. A Philippines where no one gets left behind.
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacanang.
Following the visit in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, the Alianza para sa Bagong Pilipinas kicked off its campaign in Metro Manila on Tuesday, starting with Pasay City. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. said the Alianza senatorial ticket would advocate for unity and would never speak ill of their political opponents. During the culmination of the Alianza's campaign kickoffs at the 12,000 capacity Cuneta Astrodome in Pasay City, the president said he and the administration's senatorial candidates would focus on presenting their platforms and track record amid the desperate move of other political parties to ridicule their rivals just to sway other voters. President Marcos said he is confident to face the Filipino electorate and persuade them to vote for the 12 excellent and kind Alianza senatorial bets. The chief executive said the victory of the administration's senatorial slate would benefit the whole country. President Marcos also reiterated that the Alianza candidates would make sure that the Philippines would not yield to any foreign power. Let us listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the event.
Nakita niyo naman po, narinig niyo po ang programa ng ating mga kandidato. Hindi lamang ang programa, mas mahalaga pa siguro ay ang kanilang nagawa na. At kung titignan niyo po ang record po nila, ang lagi lang kanilang iniisip ang kapayapaan at ang kaunlaran para sa bawat Pilipino, para sa buong Pilipinas. Makikita niyo naman po ang galing ng aming hinaharap. Kaya malakas po ang loob ko para makaharap sa inyo at sabihin na iboto ninyo ang ating mga kandidato. Dahil napakagaling, napakahusay po at bukod pa ron, napakamabuti na tao lahat ng aming kandidato. Kung iisa-isahin po natin, alam naman natin, napakagaling lahat. Narinig nyo na yung kanilang mga achievement doon sa kanilang pinagdaanan ng iba't ibang mga posisyon sa pamahalaan, sa serbisyo publiko. At pag pinagsama-sama natin, lahat po na ito, ng napakagaling, ay nako, talaga naman, nakakagulat at nakakatuwa na makita na meron tayong mga nagsiservisyo sa publiko na ganito ang pagmamahal sa taong bayan, ganito ang pag-aalala sa taong bayan, ganito ang pagbibigay ng tulong sa bawat Pilipino. Tignan po natin ang ating grupo dito. Baka hindi po nyo nabibilang. Sabihan ko sa inyo, 8 po sa kanila ay naging senador na. Senator Cayetano, Senator Lacson, Senator Lapid, Senator Marcos, Senator Pacquiao, Senator Revilla, Senator Soto, Senator Tolentino. Lahat po yan, dumaan na sa Senado. Kaya naman po, pagka nailuklok na sila sa kanilang posisyon bilang senador ulit, ay makikita po natin, hindi na po sila kumakapa-kapa sa kanilang trabaho. Alam na po nila kung ano yung gagawin. Alam na po nila ano ang pangangailangan ng tao dahil habang buhay na silang nagseserbisyo sa inyong lahat. 7 naman ang nanggaling sa House of Representatives na naging congressman. Nandito po, naging congressman, Congressman Abalos, Congressman Binay, Congressman Cayetano, Congressman Marcos, Congressman Pacquiao, Congressman Tulfo, at Congressman Villar. Hindi na po sila bagito sa ganitong klaseng trabaho, subok na sa mababang kapuluan at sa batasan. At meron din po sa ating mga kasama rito na umupo na sa tinatawag na cabinet rank position. Ibig sabihin, katumbas ng isang sekretary ng ating nakalihim ng isang departamento. Andiyan po ang naging sekretary ng DILG, si Secretary Abalos, na napakaganda ang naging performance niya. Andiyan din po at naging Secretary Tulfo ng DSWD. At napakita sa atin, kaya po napakaganda po ng reputasyon ngayon sa buong mundo ng Pilipinas dahil tayo po ay matulungin sa ating mga kababayan. Siya po, sa administrasyong ito, siya po ang nagsimula niyan. Kasama din natin po si Senator Ping Lacson. Si Senator Ping Lacson ang namuno ng Yolanda Rehabilitation Commission. At siya po ay ang nagbigay ng tulong at nagdala ng lahat ng pangangailangan ng mga naging biktima, yung mga nasalanta ng bagyong Yolanda. At kasama na rin natin si Senator Tolentino na dumaan din po sa MMDA na makita naman ninyo. At dahil napakahirap po na trabaho yan, kagaya ng nabanggit ni Mayor Benhor, ni Secretary Benhor, sinabi nga niya, ang kanyang tinutulungan pag MMDA ka ay lahat ng mga mayor, lahat ng mga iba't ibang lungsod, lahat ng iba't ibang bayan na nasasama sa Metro Manila. Kaya po, ngunit yung mahirap na trabaho yan ay nagawa na at maganda ulit ang kanyang performance. Alam nila ang gobyerno, kabisado nila mula sa matataas na posisyon at hindi na sila nagdadada.
na basta daldal ng daldal, gawa lang sila ng gawa, trabaho lang sila ng trabaho. They will stand in the Senate, not to oppose, but to propose. Ibig sabihin, wala silang hinahangad na panggulo. Wala silang iniisip na pagwatak-watakin ang Pilipinas. Wala silang iniisip kung hindi ang pagkakaisa para sa kabubuti ng ating bansa. Narinig nyo rin po ang tatlo sa aming kandidato na naging gobernador. Andyan po ay yung aking kapatid, naging gobernador ng lungsod namin sa Ilocos Norte. At nandyan din po ang Governor Lito Lapid ng Pampanga. At ang napakalaking probinsya ay hinawakan din po ni Governor Bong Revilla. Meron din po tayo mga mayor ng mga malalaking lungsod. Andyan din si Mayor Abalos dati ng Mandaluyong kung saan nakatanggap ng karami-rami na pagkakakilala sa magandang pangyayari sa Mandaluyong. Nandyan naman si Mayor Abby Binay na maraming dalampala galing sa Makati. At siya po ay humawak ng Makati, yung pinakamayaman na lungsod sa buong Pilipinas. Alam niyo po, kung akakalain po ninyo na dahil maraming pera, maraming pondo, ang isang lungsod ay madali ang trabaho. Hindi po. Mas nagiging mahirap ang trabaho dahil sa dami ng kailangan gawin at sa dami ng kanilang mga iniisip na inisyatibo pampaganda ulit ng buhay ng bawat Pilipino. Andyan din po ang si Senator Tolentino na naging mayor naman ng Tagaytay. At huwag natin makakalimutan na alam nyo po, baka hindi nyo po alam, na ang unang Senator Soto ay si Senator Vicente Soto na galing naman sa Cebu. At hindi lamang yun, si Senator Soto rin ay dumaan din sa LGU, dumaan din sa local government. Ay vice mayor naman siya ng Quezon City. Kaya makikita ninyo, napakalawak na ang kanilang karanasan, napakalalim na ang kanilang dedikasyon sa trabaho ng pagseserbisyo sa publiko. Hindi po natin kinakalimutan ang ating mga kababaihan. Dahil apat po sa ating mga kandidato, apat po sa kanila ay babae. Hindi lamang po na pangkaraniwan ng babae. Matagal ko na pong kilala silang lahat. Ang titibay nitong mga ito, akala mo sa tapang nila parang mga sundalo. Kaya maaasahan ninyo na ipagtatanggol nila ang karapatan ng mga kababaihan at maririnig ang boses ng kababaihan sa Senado. Kung sa pambabatas naman, apat po sa kanila ay abogado. Ang abogado po, nandito si Benhur Abalos, si Abby Binay, si Pia Cayetano, si Tol Tolentino. Puro po magagaling na abogado, sanay na sanay sumulat ng magagandang batas na hindi na kailangan pag-aralan ang mga bagong pangangailangan, ngunit alam na nila dahil nasubukan na nila at nadaanan na nila. At ang problema lamang, pagka ito napagsama-sama mo mga abogado, alam mo na, magkasama po lahat yan. At laging magandang usapan. Hanggat napunta ang usapan na nagtatalo sila kung sino yung pinakamagaling na abogado. Yun lang naman ang problema. At sa panggagaling sa iba't ibang lugar ng Pilipinas, tignan po natin kung saan sila po nanggaling. Unahin po natin si Senator Manny Pacquiao ng Bukidnon, Sarangani at Jensan. At si Erwin Tulfo naman na Dabawenyo ay siya'y lumaki sa Davao Oriental at sa Sulu, kung saan na destino ang kanyang ama na naging bayani ng Pilipinas. Ang nanay naman namin ni Amy ay, alam nyo naman siguro, si Imelda, 100% waray po. At alam natin, baka hindi nyo po nalalaman na ang mga ninuno ni Camille Villar, sila po ay nanggaling sa Iloilo, mga Ilonggo po. Mga kababayan, malinaw po sa kanilang pagtalumpati at sa kanilang mga pinapanalangin para sa ating bansa na kung ano ang direksyon ng alyansa. Ito ay ang kaunlaran. Hindi pag-aaway-away, hindi ang pag-aapi. Ang kailangan po natin ay mag-unlad. Hindi po nananakot at nagsisisigaw. At ang kailangan po natin ay solusyon. Hindi po ang mga maiinit at maanghang na salita na wala namang kinalaman at wala namang kabuluhan. Ang mga kandidato ng alyansa ay kasama natin sa pagtataguyod ng interes ng kapakanan ng bawat Pilipino. Ipaglalaban natin ang ating soberanyo at karapatan sa pamamagitan ng diplomasya at dignidad. Hindi natin isusuko ni isang pulgada ng ating teritoryo at hindi tayo kailangan sumunod sa kahit na sinong mga dayuhan na kahit ano pang sabihin nila. Tayo po ay may ganap na karapatan at dapat makinabang sa yaman ng ating sariling bayan. Sa laban kontra naman sa krimen at droga, hindi natin kailangan dumaan sa madugong solusyon. Wala kaming paniniwala na ang solusyon ay kailangan pumatay ng libong-libong Pilipino. May tamang paraan para tiyakin ang kapayapaan at kaayusan. At yun ay sa pamamagitan ng mga maayos na batas, epektibong pagpapatupad ng mga malalakas na suporta sa ating mga pulis at lokal na pamahalaan. Sa ekonomiya naman at sa trabaho, hindi natin kailangan umasa sa iligal na mga industriya tulad ng Pogo na naging pugad ng krimen at karahasan. Ang solusyon po ay tunay na trabaho, disenteng sweldo at suporta sa maliliit at sa mga nangangailangan.
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacanang.
Also on Tuesday, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has stressed the importance of a unified approach to stabilize food prices. This came after the President met with officials of the Department of Agriculture or DA at Malacanang Palace in Manila. In a social media post, the Presidential Communications Office or PCO said, President Marcos received an update on the implementation of the Anti-Agricultural Economic Sabotage Act during a sectoral meeting with the DA. The chief executive said a unified approach is key to stabilizing food prices, adding that new policies are needed to shield consumers from market volatility. The DA on February 4th declared a food security emergency for rice to address the extraordinary price increases in retail price. On February 15th, the DA also lowered its maximum suggested retail price for 5% broken rice in Metro Manila to 52 pesos per kilogram from 55 pesos to further tame retail prices. The DA is also considering selling cheaper pork as an alternative option for consumers amid retail price spikes. Besides pork, the agency is also studying the sale of more affordable chicken. President Marcos also met with the Department of Energy or DOE to discuss the policies related to coal-fired power plants and the extraction of indigenous coal. The meeting was held to address concerns over the coal moratorium and coal mining. The PCO said, President Marcos stressed the importance of ensuring a reliable power supply, citing its critical role in sustaining the country's socio-economic well-being.
Dateline Malacanang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has signed Republic Act or RA 12121, creating 8 additional courts in San Juan City. A copy of RA 12121 was made public on Wednesday. RA 12121, inked by the President on February 13th, converts 4 branches of the Regional Trial Court or RTC for Pasig City that are located in San Juan City into RTC branches for San Juan. These include the RTC branches 68, 160, 162, and 264. On top of the newly converted RTC branches, 2 additional RTC branches and 2 other branches of the Metropolitan Trial Court or METC in the National Capital Judicial Region are created and stationed in San Juan City. The Supreme Court or SC is directed to issue the necessary rules and regulations for the effective implementation of RA 12121 and, if warranted, the realignment of seats of existing branches and their territorial jurisdiction. The SC is also tasked to assign the respective branch numbers for the newly created branches of the RTC and METC in San Juan. RA 12121 also creates the Office of the Clerk of Court or OCC with the corresponding plantilla based on the number of branches in the said station. The new law also mandates the Chief Justice, in coordination with the Justice Secretary, to immediately include in the court's program the operationalization of the newly created and converted branches of the RTC and METC in San Juan. The funds necessary for the implementation of RA 12121, including appropriations for personnel services such as salaries, benefits, and emoluments, will be included in the Annual General Appropriations Act. The funds necessary for the operation of the created courts will be appropriated and released only upon the actual organization of the court and the appointment of its personnel. The law takes effect 15 days after its publication in the Official Gazette or in any newspaper of general circulation.
Dateline Malacanang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has authorized the grant of real property tax or RPT relief to independent power producers or IPPs operating under the Build, Operate, Transfer or BOT contracts with government-owned or controlled corporations or GOCCs. Executive Order or EO number 83, inked by the President on February 13th, reduces and condones RPTs and penalties assessed on power generation facilities of IPPs to consolidate the government's fiscal efforts, stabilize energy prices, and avoid further cross-defaults and significant economic losses across all sectors. Under EO 83, the IPP's real property, including any special levies accruing to the Special Education Fund on property, machinery, and equipment used by IPPs for power production under BOT and similar schemes for calendar year 2024 will be reduced. The reduction is equivalent to tax due if computed based on the assessment level of 15% of the fair market value of the said property, machinery, and equipment depreciated at the rate of 2% per annum, less any amount already paid by the IPPs. All interest and penalties on such deficiency RPT liabilities are also condoned, and the concerned IPPs are relieved from the payment. All RPT payments made by the IPPs over and above the reduced amount will be applied to their RPT liabilities for succeeding years. The collection of the subject RPTs for 2024 was assessed by concerned local government units or LGUs at the maximum assessment level of 80% pursuant to Section 218 of Republic Act or RA 7160 or the Local Government Code of 1991. The Department of Finance or DOF earlier said, LGUs have taken the position that IPPs operating within their territories are not entitled to tax exemptions and privileges enjoyed by GOCCs with respect to RPTs on their property, machinery, and equipment used in the generation and distribution of electric power, and have threatened enforcement action against IPPs, including the levy and sale of affected properties at public auction. The Department of the Interior and Local Government, or DILG, in coordination with the DOF, is directed to monitor the compliance of all concerned LGUs. The DOF is directed to submit to the President, through the Office of the Executive Secretary, a progress report on the status of the implementation of EO 83 within 6 months from the effectivity of the order. EO 83, a copy of which was released on Wednesday, takes effect immediately upon publication in the Official Gazette or in any newspaper of general circulation.
Dateline Malacanang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has signed into law a measure fixing the Philippine Coast Guard or PCG Commandant's term of office. Republic Act or RA 12122, inked by the President on February 18, 2025, fixes the PCG Commandant's term to 3 years to ensure the agency's stability. According to the new law, the Commandant shall have a maximum of 3 years, which shall commence on the date the appointment is signed unless sooner terminated by the President. It added that the PCG Commandant shall be compulsorily retired upon completion of the maximum term or upon relief by the President. The provisions of the new law apply to the PCG Commandant appointed and promoted under RA 9993, also known as the Philippine Coast Guard Law of 2009, and other pertinent laws. The new law would allow the PCG Commandant to focus on long-term programs and reforms amid tensions in the West Philippine Sea. RA 12122, which was made public Wednesday, takes effect immediately after its complete publication in the Official Gazette or at least one newspaper of general circulation.
Dateline Malacanang.
In other news, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday called on the Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, to ensure the peaceful, credible, and orderly conduct of this year's midterm elections. In his speech after the oath-taking of the newly promoted AFP generals and flag officers and graduates of the Foreign Pre-Commissioned Training Institutions, or FPCTI, in a ceremony at Malacanang Palace in Manila, the President said, as a nation that deeply values and honors the right to vote, Filipinos are counting on the armed forces to ensure a peaceful, credible, and orderly conduct of the electoral process. Earlier this month, the AFP joined the Solidarity Pact, signing for the May 12 polls to safeguard the integrity of the electoral process, ensure the voters' safety, and maintain peace and order during the election period. President Marcos urged the newly promoted AFP officials and FPCTI graduates to be at the forefront as the government pushes for a secure, prosperous, and thriving Bagong Pilipinas or New Philippines. Let us listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the event.
Leadership teaches us that every challenge is an opportunity where we can shine. And in the toughest of times, leaders are those who have the ability to transform challenges into victories. Each of you here have your fair share of challenges in protecting the Filipino people and in protecting our nation. But you have risen above those challenges. You persevered in improving our country's security. You have pursued reforms to better your organization, and you have taken steps to enhance your capabilities. This day is dedicated to those achievements. The courage, dedication, and patriotism of those who have taken the mantle of leadership in the armed forces deserve the highest recognition and admiration from a proud and grateful nation. So in behalf of the entire Filipino citizenry, I extend my sincerest congratulations to the 35 newly promoted AFP generals and flag officers and to the 9 graduates of foreign pre-commissioned training institutions. This career milestone testifies to the hard work, dedication, and adherence to the fulfillment of your duties as vanguards of your security. As you move forth with your journey on this lifelong commitment to the nation, carry always with you the core values of the AFP. I am certain that you can never go astray, so long as you are guided by the time-honored principle of serving with honor and with integrity. To our FPCTI graduates and our new generation of leaders, may you be inspired by the achievements of your senior officers as you grow into the AFP organization. The training, the discipline, the strategies that you acquired abroad will certainly boost our forces' capabilities, especially amidst the increasingly uncertain geopolitical landscape. Our nation relies on you to bring fresh perspectives that will strengthen our defense systems and enhance military cooperation across borders. Undoubtedly, the world demands more from us now than was demanded from us before. We are now expected to be innovative. We are expected to be agile and to have foresight. But one demand that has never changed, and that is for courage. To have the courage to respond, to have the courage to adapt. Last week, we successfully conducted the 7th iteration of multilateral maritime cooperative activity with the Defense Forces of Canada and of the United States. That demonstrates that we remain resolute in preserving our sovereignty by ensuring regional peace and international cooperation. In line with our shared mandate to protect the people and the state, and to secure the country's sovereignty and the integrity of our national territory, the AFP reaffirms its commitment during the Solidarity Pact signing for the 2025 national and local elections. Once again, we find ourselves at the critical juncture where we have to preserve not only the integrity of our election, but the very ethos of our democracy. As a nation that deeply values and honors our right to vote, we are counting on the armed forces to ensure a peaceful, credible, and orderly conduct of the electoral process that Filipinos expect from us. We cannot fail them. To our esteemed officials and graduates today, be among those who stand at the forefront as we march towards a secure, prosperous, and thriving Bagong Pilipinas, a Bagong Pilipinas we all aspire for. Let us all be shining examples of how Bagong Pilipino should be: disciplined, patriotic, and
ever committed to the greater good for the greatest number. Be assured that this administration stands with you, side by side, in upholding peace, democracy, and the rule of law. As your Commander-in-Chief, I offer you my salute and express my utmost appreciation to all your selfless sacrifices and services, not only to get to this point, but all through the years of your duty. This, of course, extends to your families and loved ones who have had their fair share of sacrifices to support you in your career. To quote Winston Churchill during the Second World War, they serve too. Those who wait for their loved ones to come back from war also serve.
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacanang.
Also on Thursday, Presidential Communications Office or PCO Acting Secretary Cesar Chavez confirmed that he resigned from his post and will vacate the office on February 28th or anytime earlier when his replacement is appointed. In a statement, Chavez said he submitted his irrevocable resignation on February 5th, adding that he had spoken to former journalist Jay Ruiz, who will serve as his successor. Chavez, who was named acting PCO chief on September 5th, 2024, thanked President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. for the opportunity to serve, saying it is an honor of a lifetime. He also admitted that he would leave with one regret because he has fallen short of what was expected of him. Chavez said he would introduce Ruiz to the PCO Management Committee on February 24th to give way for a week-long transition. Ruiz will serve as the fourth PCO head under the Marcos administration. Trixie Cruz Angeles was the first to serve as press secretary. She was succeeded by Cheloy Garafil, who now heads the Manila Economic and Cultural Office.
Dateline Malacanang.
Still on Thursday, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. expressed his intent to further deepen the Philippines' economic, defense, and diplomatic ties with the Czech Republic. In a meeting with Czech Defense Minister Yana Chernochova at Malacanang Palace in Manila, the President expressed optimism about closer cooperation and collaboration between the two nations. President Marcos also thanked Chernochova for visiting the Philippines, saying it is a testament to Manila and Prague's improving relations following his visit to Czech Republic on March 2024. Chernochova said she is very impressed by the traits of the Filipino people, emphasizing that they are very nice, kind, and hardworking. During his visit to the Czech Republic in March last year, President Marcos Jr. met with Czech Republic President Petr Pavel and discussed the bilateral engagements between the two countries. The Philippine President and Pavel discussed opportunities for future partnerships in trade and investment, agriculture, green economy and renewable energy, space and aerospace, education, tourism, defense, cybersecurity, and labor. The joint communique on labor consultations mechanism to protect Filipino workers' rights in Czech Republic was also signed on the sidelines of President Marcos's bilateral meeting with Pavel in Prague. The Czech Republic is home to more than 7,000 Filipinos working in the processing industry, automotive, repairs and appliances, manufacturing, information technology communications, real estate, health and or wellness, and household service work.
Dateline Malacanang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday expressed hope that the job seekers trying their luck at the Trabaho sa Bagong Pilipinas Fair would get employed so they could have a better future. This was after President Marcos congratulated the 27 applicants who were hired on the spot during the job fair in Dumaguete City, Negros Oriental Province. In his speech, the President said the government would continue providing assistance to the Filipino people, especially those still in need of help. President Marcos said he is committed to empowering the poor and vulnerable sector by providing new employment opportunities. Organized by the Department of Labor and Employment, or DOLE, and the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, the Trabaho sa Bagong Pilipinas program seeks to empower graduating beneficiaries of the DSWD's Pangtawid Pamilyang Pilipino program, or 4Ps, through employment. Let us listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the event.
Ako'y natutuwa na kayong lahat ay nandito upang mabigyan namin ng kaunting suporta dito sa pamamagitan ng aming ginagawa. Dahil meron sa DSWD, nagbibigay ng AX, nagbibigay ng assistance po. Kaya po ang ginagawa po namin ay unang-una, ang pagka-report sa akin ni Secretary Rex Gatchalian ay sabi sa akin ay mag-graduate ngayong hapon, ngayong araw na ito sa 4Ps. Ang mag-graduate ay 3,000, mahigit kumulang 3,000 ang mag-graduate. Ang ibig sabihin po na nagpag-graduate, ibig sabihin yung dating tinuturing at kinakalkula namin, tinuturing nating mahirap at nangangailangan pa ng tulong sa DSWD, ay sila po ay gumanda na ang kanilang sitwasyon na hindi na sila nangangailangan ng tulong sa DSWD. Ngunit, kailangan pa rin na magkaroon ng trabaho. Kailangan pa rin na kahit na para mas magandahin pa ang kanilang kabuhayan, ay kailangan po makahanap ng magandang trabaho. Kaya po meron din tayong job fair na tinatawag Trabaho sa Bagong Pilipinas. Ito po ay pinagmamatch po natin lahat ng mga aplikante doon sa mga trabaho na bagay sa kanila, na bagay sa kanilang kakayahan. At yan po ay in-inspection lang po namin. Andyan din po ang iba't ibang ahensya para yung mga clearance na kailangan para makapag-apply ng mabuti o para makapagkuha ng trabaho, ay nandyan po lahat upang yung tinatawag na lagi po nating naririnig ay pinapatupad po natin yung ganong klaseng konsepto ay one-stop shop. Pagpunta nyo po rito, yung mga bibigyan ng tulong ng AX, ng DSWD ay makakakuha ng kanilang suporta na galing sa pamahalaan. At kasama na rin doon ang nandyan yung job fair para makahanap ng magandang trabaho. Yung iba nga, pagpasok ko, may isang grupo ang nakasuot na ng t-shirt na HOTS. Ibig sabihin, hired on the spot. Ibig sabihin, meron na rito, nakakuha na ng trabaho. Congratulations sa inyo. Yung mga iba po na nag-a-apply pa lang, good luck sa inyo. Sa palagay ko naman, kahit papano, sa galing ng ating mga manggagawa ay makakahanap ng trabaho na maganda. At tuloy-tuloy po ang aming binibigay na pagtulong sa lahat ng taong bayan upang alam naman po natin na kung minsan nakikita po natin, maliwanag naman, na yung iba sa ating mga kababayan ay hanggang ngayon ay nangangailangan pa rin ng tulong. Kaya po kami nandito upang ipagpatuloy ang ibinibigay ng DSWD at tuloy-tuloy ang aming tulong na gumawa ng paraan upang yung mga naghahanap ng trabaho ay makausap po nila ang mga mag-employ, ang mga employer para naman ay mabigyan ng trabaho ang mga ibang naghahanap ng mas magandang trabaho doon sa kanilang ginagawa ngayon. At bukod pa ron, meron po tayong kadiwa sa labas kung saan nakakapagbigay po tayo ng mga iba't ibang produkto. Meron diyan pagkain, meron diyan yung ibang produkto galing po sa pamahalaan. Yung mga bigas, yung mga gulay dito po galing. Kaya po nagagawa po namin na mapagbili ng 29 pesos lang po ang bigas na binibigay nga sa kadiwa ngayon. At lahat ng mga bilihin ay makikita po ninyo ay mas mura kaysa sa presyuhan pagka tayo'y lumabas dito. Kaya isa pa yon, isa pang bagay yun upang yung mga ibang naghihirap para buuhin ang ipapakain nila para sa kanilang mga pamilya ay kailangan ay mabigyan ng tulong ay hindi na sila masyadong mahirapan dahil nakapagbili na po ng mga iba't ibang produkto na nakamura sila at kahit papano nabigyan natin ng tulong ng pamahalaan. Patuloy po ito. Hindi lang po ito dito sa Dumaguete. Ginagawa po namin ito sa buong Pilipinas. Habang ginagawa po natin ito, hindi po kung saan lang ako pupunta. Patuloy po yung mga ginagawang job fair at saka yung DSWD assistance at saka yung kadiwa ay habang ginagawa po natin ito dito sa Dumaguete ay may ginagawa din po sa mga iba't ibang lugar. Kaya ginagawa po lahat ng inyong pamahalaan upang mabigyan ng tulong ang mga nangangailangan ng tulong. Ang mga nahihirapan makahanap ng trabaho ay tinutulungan din po natin upang makahanap ng magandang trabaho. Hindi lang po yung mga pangkaraniwan lang na trabaho. Sana naman ay mabigyan ng trabaho na may future. Ika nga na sinasabi na kahit yan ang trabaho mo, baka ma-promote ka pa, baka gumanda pa ang sahod pagkatagal ng panahon at pagka maganda ang performance niyo sa trabaho. At sabay doon ang mga produkto nga sa kadiwa. Sana po itong aming ginagawa ay makatulong sa pagpaganda ng inyong kabuhayan, pagpaganda ng buhay ng inyong mga pamilya, at sa ganung paraan, pagpaganda ng ating minamahal na Pilipinas. Alam niyo po, asahan po ninyo na ang inyong pamahalaan ay laging nandito at nakikinig sa inyo. At lahat po ay kaya't wag po kayong nahihiya. Kapag kayo'y may pangangailangan, sabihan niyo po itong magigiting natin mga LGU executives. Sabihan niyo po ang ating mga iba't ibang department at iba't ibang agency kung ano yung pangangailangan ninyo. Nakikinig po kami sa inyo at sa ganung paraan ay gagawa namin paraan upang pagandahin ang serbisyo na ibinibigay ng pamahalaan. Lagi po kaming nandito. Hindi na po ang ating mga kalihim ay hindi na po natutulog itong mga ito. Alam ko po yan dahil ako rin di na po ako natutulog. Pag tinatawagan ako ng alas 10 ng umaga, sumasagot. Kaya mabuti na lang yan. Kaya saka na tayo matutulog at marami pa tayong gagawin. Kaya maraming salamat sa inyo. Ako po ay nandito po. Andito ang inyong pamahalaan upang lagi kayong pakinggan, upang lagi kayong tulungan, upang gawin ng lahat, upang pagandahin ang inyong kabuhayan, upang pagandahin ang buhay ng inyong mga pamilya, ng inyong mga komunidad, at sa ganung paraan ang buong Pilipinas.
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacanang.
And finally, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday said the senatorial candidates of the Alianza para sa Bagong Pilipinas will help the administration in protecting and promoting public interests and welfare and have no intentions to instill fear. In a campaign rally in Dumaguete City, Negros Oriental Province, President Marcos said The Alianza's senatorial bets come from different political parties that have agreed to join forces in a bid to realize their shared goal of promoting the Filipinos' interests and welfare. The chief executive assured voters of the administration slate's love for the country, saying they shared the same stance of not giving up even an inch of the Philippine territory and not yielding to any foreign power. President Marcos said sound laws, law enforcement, and strong support from the police and local officials are crucial in addressing the pressing issues in the country. Let us listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the campaign rally.
Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat na kayo ay nakarating po dito sa aming rally upang makilala po ang kandidato po natin ng Alyansa sa Bagong Pilipinas. Ito po ang aming ipinagmamalaki at tinitingnan po natin at pagka tinitingnan po natin ang mga ibang naging kandidato, iniisip ko kung ako man ay kandidato para sa Senado, baka pag nakita ko itong grupong ito, talagang mapapa-atras ako dahil mahirap pakalaban itong mga ito dahil masyado nang magagaling, masyado nang mahaba ang karanasan sa serbisyo publiko, masyado nang magandang pinakitang performance at marami na po na itulong sa taong bayan, marami na po na itulong sa ating minamahal na Pilipinas. Narinig niyo po ang kanilang mga programa. Hindi lamang yung mga programa na ninanais nilang gagawin kapag sila ay naluklok na sa Senado. Yun din ay napag-usapan din kung ano ang nagawa na nila. At nakita naman po ninyo na ang record ng bawat sa ating mga kandidato ay napakatingkad, napakaganda. Kaya't malakas po ang loob ko na humarap po sa inyo at iharap at ipakilala at samahan ang ating mga kandidato para sa susunod na halalan, ang ating mga kandidato para sa Senado. Narinig nyo na po sila at kung iisa-isahin po natin sa kanilang bawat sarili ay meron talagang sinasabi, meron talagang pinagdaanan, meron talagang pagmamahal sa Pilipino. At lahat ng buong buhay ng bawat isa po dito sa mga kandidato natin ay itinayanan nila para sa taong bayan. Itinayanan nila para sa serbisyo publiko. Kaya po, dapat wag natin kakalimutan na ito ang mga kailangan natin na uupo sa Senado. Lahat sila, tigisa sila magaling. Pinagsama-sama po natin silang lahat. At kapag pinagsama-sama mo, nakakagulat talaga na makakita ng isang grupo na ganito, na kasing galing at kasing sikat at kasing experience nitong mga kandidato natin. Alam niyo po, tignan po natin, isa-isahin po natin. At tignan po natin ano yung mga katangian na ating maaaring ipagmalaki dito sa ating grupo. Alam niyo po na walo po sa ating kandidato rito ngayon ay naging senador na. Kaya't ibabalik po natin dahil nakita naman po natin nung nagsenador po sila ay nakita po natin marami po silang natulungan, marami po silang nagawa. Ang naging senador na po dito sa grupo natin, Senator Cayetano, Senator Lacson, Senator Lapid, Senator Marcos, Senator Pacquiao, Senator Revilla, Senator Soto, Senator Tolentino. Kaya pagka nasa Senado sila ulit, ay wala na pong kailangan magtanong-tanong, wala na po nagkakapa-kapa. Alam na po nila ang trabaho. Alam na po nila ang pangangailangan ng taong bayan. Alam na po nila ang kanilang gagawin upang makatulong, upang pagandahin ang buhay ninyong lahat. 7 naman, dito sa ating grupo, 7 po ay nanggaling naman, dumaan po sa mababang kapuluan. Itong dumaan po sa House of Representatives, naging congressman po. At ang mga naging congressman po ay si Congressman Abalos, si Congressman Binay, Congressman Cayetano, Congressman Marcos, Congressman Pacquiao, Congressman Tulfo, Congressman Villar. Sanay na po upang sumulat ng magagandang batas na tunay na nakakatulong sa hanap buhay, nakakatulong sa kabuhayan, nakakatulong sa kalikasan, nakakatulong sa lahat ng mga iba't ibang sektor ng ating lipunan. Ang iba po naman sa kanila ay dumaan na sa cabinet position, secretary, naging secretary na po yung iba rito. Ay si Benhur Abalos, secretary po ng DILG. Nung una po kaming umupo, tinatanong sa akin, sino pa kayang pinakamagaling na pwede natin ilagay DILG? Kako, may magaling na mayor, galing sa Mandaluyong. Dapat siguro, tingnan natin kung papayag siya na magsilbi. Nagsilbi na po siya bilang DILG secretary at hindi lang siya nagsilbi, kundi marami pong nagawa na maganda, na pinaganda ang ugnayan ng ating mga local executive at saka ng national government. At naging secretary naman ng DSWD si Erwin Tulfo. Ito rin po, noong ako'y bagong upo, ay naisip namin, sino ba talaga ang kilalang-kilala sa buong Pilipinas, kilalang-kilala na tumutulong, walang ginagawa, kundi tumulong sa taong bayan. Hindi lang tumutulong, ipinaglalaban ang karapatan ng maliliit. Ipinaglalaban ang pangangailangan at ang mga mabuting dapat gawin ng pamahalaan para sa mga nangangailangan na taong bayan. Yan po ay si Secretary of DSWD, Erwin Tulfo. Si Senator Lacson naman ay siya naman ang namuno ng Yolanda Rehabilitation Commission. Dahil po, siya po ang gumawa ng lahat upang pagkatapos ng pagdaan ng napakalakas na bagyo na Yolanda, ay siya po ang nagdala ng tulong para sa mga nasalanta. Siya po ang nagdala ng tulong upang buhayin ulit ang ekonomiya ng mga nadaanan ng Yolanda. Siya po ay ang nag-organisa sa pagbubuo ulit ng infrastruktura, pagpapatayo ng mga bahay para sa mga nawalan ng bahay. Ito po, yan po ang ating isang secretary level po yun. Kaya si Secretary, at that time, Secretary Ping Lacson, ay sanay na rin sa pagserbisyo bilang isang secretary. At si Senator Tolentino naman, siya naman ay nasa MMDA. Ang MMDA po, ang Metro Manila Development Authority. At sila ay ang bumubuo ng lahat ng mga iba't ibang mayor sa iba't ibang mga lungsod, sa iba't ibang mga bayan sa Metro Manila. Hindi po madali ang trabaho na yan. Dahil maraming mayor po, kailangan makahanap kayo ng paraan upang magtulungan, upang magkaisa, upang maging maganda ang daloy ng traffic, upang maging maganda ang tinatawag na public transport, ang public transport natin sa Maynila. Ang MMDA din ang namamahala sa mga flood control. Sila po ang gumagawa niyan. Yan po ang naging katungkulan. Yan po ang tungkulin ni Senator Tolentino nung siya ay nasa MMDA. Pero lang po ako idadagdag dahil hindi ko po makalimutan. Nung nandun po kami nasa Tacloban po ako, walang 3 araw, pagkadaan ng Yolanda, pumunta na kaagad ako sa Yolanda. Matagal po kami nag-aantay ng tulong galing sa national government. Nagulat po kami. Ang unang dumating na malalaking makinarya, ng mga heavy equipment para tulungan ang recovery ng mga biktima ng Yolanda ay ang MMDA pinangungunahan noon ni Secretary Tolentino. Ang kanilang tinatakbuhan ay ang lehislatura. Kaya kailangan marunong sila sa batas. Nanuunawaan nila ano yung batas na tama, ano yung batas na maganda, ano yung batas na kailangan, at paano isusulat yung magagandang batas na yan. Kaya naman po, mabuti naman. At dito po sa grupo natin, 4 po ang abogado. Nandiyan po si Abalos, Attorney Abalos po yan. Bago naging mayor, Attorney Abalos. Nandiyan din po na Attorney Binay, Attorney Cayetano, Attorney Tolentino. Mga magagaling po na abogado yan. At kung hindi sila pumasok sa serbisyo publiko, mayayaman na po sila siguro, kagaya ng yung mga sikat na mga abogado. Pero, nagsakripisyo po sila dahil mas mahalaga sa kanilang mga puso, mas mahalaga sa kanilang mga puso ang makatulong sa kanilang minamahal na magpayaman ng kanilang mga sarili. Pagdating naman kung saan sila po nanggaling, dahil po, kaya siyempre, hindi natin masisisi ang ibang tao. Paano yan? Lahat naman ng mga sikat na yan, galing lahat sa Maynila yan. Hindi nila alam ang mga pangyayari dito sa amin, sa lugar namin. Hindi po tama yun, hindi po totoo yun. Dahil po, sila ay nanggaling sa buong lawak ng Pilipinas. Simulan po natin. Kilala nyo naman ang ating kinahahangaan, si Senator Manny Pacquiao. Siya po galing Bukidnon, Sarangani at sa Jensan. Si Erwin Tulfo naman ay lumaki sa Davao Oriental. Dabawenyo po siya at saka lumaki siya sa Sulu. Dahil doon po na destino yung kanyang ama na naging bayani ng Pilipinas. Ang unang Vicente Soto, kung maalala po ninyo, baka hindi nyo po naalala na, baka matagal na rin yun. Ang unang Senator Soto po, Senator Vicente Soto, ay galing naman sa Cebu. Kaya tayo mga ninuno po ng ating butihing Senator, butihing Tito Sen, tawag po namin sa kanya Tito Sen. Ang kanyang mga ninuno ay galing po sa Cebu. At alam naman po ninyo, para mailapit-lapit naman po natin dito sa inyo, ang ina namin ni Aimee ay waray. 100% waray po ang aming ina. Kaya po, naintindihan po natin, naranasan po natin ang buhay at naintindihan natin ang buhay ng mga tiga doon po. At baka hindi niyo po alam na ang mga ninuno ni Camille Villar ay mga Ilonggo. Kaya naman meron siyang special spot sa kanyang puso para sa mga Ilonggo. Kaya naman hindi asahan po ninyo, hindi kayo makakalimutan kapag nandiyan na si Senator Camille Villar. Mga kababayan, malinaw ang direksyon natin. Ang direksyon natin ay ang mapaunlad ang Pilipinas, hindi mang-aapi. Pag-unlad, hindi takot ang solusyon. Ang solusyon ay ang dapat pagandahin ang ating patakbo ng ating pamahalaan. Ang mga kandidato ng alyansa ay kasama natin sa pagtataguyod ng interes at kapakanan ng bawat isang Pilipino. Ipaglalaban natin ang ating soberanyo at karapatan ng may diplomasya at may dignidad. Hindi natin isusuko ni isang pulgado ng ating teritoryo at hindi tayo kailangan sumunod o magpaapekto sa kagustuhan ng sinumang iba. Tayo ay may ganap na karapatan at dapat makinabang sa yaman ng ating minamahal na bayan. Sa laban kontra krimen at droga, hindi po natin kailangan dumaan sa madugong solusyon. Wala po kaming paniniwala na kailangan pong pumatay ng libo-libong Pilipino para mabigyan ng solusyon itong problema na ito. May tamang paraan po para tiyakin ang kapayapaan. Kailangan, para maging maayos, ay kailangan ang gagawin natin sa pamamagitan ng mga maayos na batas, epektibong pagpapatupad at mga malakas na suporta sa ating mga pulis at lalong-lalo na sa ating mga lokal na opisyal. Sa ekonomiya at trabaho, hindi natin kailangan umasa sa ilegal na industriya tulad ng pogo na naging pugad ng krimen, naging pugad ng kaharasan. Ang solusyon ay tunay na trabaho, disenteng sweldo, at suporta sa maliliit na negosyo. Ito po ang aming ihinaharap sa inyo, ito pong alyansa. Bakit po tawag sa amin ay alyansa? Dahil kung titignan niyo po, kung minsan, pagka lumalabas ang mga kandidato, pare-pareho pong kulay ang suot na t-shirt. Kami iba-iba. Dahil sa iba't ibang partido kami nanggagaling. Ngunit, pumayag po silang lahat na magsama-sama dahil nakakaunawa po sila na ang tanging solusyon para sa mga problema natin ay ang magkaisa. Kapag tayo lahat, pagkat tayo mga Pilipino ay nagkapit-bisig, kapag tayo mga Pilipino ay nagtutulungan at nagmamahal sa isa't isa, makikita po natin maganda ang pupuntahan, ang tutunguan ng ating minamahal na Pilipinas.
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacanang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service is heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 9.475 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.820 MHz. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel at Radyo Pilipinas World Service. You will be able to hear and view our Filipino and English programs, including news updates here in the Philippines. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacanang in Review. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacanang.